Hello, welcome to section 6 of Introduction to SAS Programming. In this section, we talk about SAS Graphics. The technique we use in this course is so-called ODS graphics, and there's two ways to produce graphics using this technique. The first one is using the standalone graphics procedures, which are proc SGPLOT, SGPanel, and SGScatter. The first one is the main procedure that produces individual graphs. The second one can produce most of the same graphic types, but using a paneled layout of the graphs. And then the third one is a specialized procedure for scatter plots, and for example, scatter plot matrices can be produced using that one. Then the second main alternative to producing graphs is to produce them as a side product of statistical procedures. So almost all of the stat procedures, as well as some of the statistical base procedures, do produce supporting graphs using this ODS graphics technique. In addition, of course, the more traditional graphics procedures are also available still in SAS, such as gplot or gchart, but they are not covered in this course. Uh, so we will soon face quite many examples on producing graphics, and that's the main way how we approach this section or the graphics in general. And for that reason, it's also so that we are presenting the sample codes and the sample images that can be produced using the code, but unfortunately the data sets are not available in the course material. But you can repeat the similar graphs using your own dataset using the examples that we present here. The reason being that some of the examples in this section originate from training material by SAS Institute, and that's why I have not shared the datasets here. Uh, Yeah, but first of all, we go to the second main way of producing the graphs, and that's producing the images as a byproduct of the methodological procedures. And that's kind of as far as I understand, that's the sort of the background of developing this ODS graphics was actually to produce these good quality uh, supporting graphs when you are using these methodological or statistical procedures. And by default, in these modern user interfaces in SAS, this technique, ODS graphics, is on automatically. But it's good to notice that in some older versions, you might have to. Oh, sorry, you might have to turn on the ODS graphics by running this ODS graphics on statement. One thing also about these byproduct images is that there might be quite limited possibilities for editing the images, because they are mainly meant for the user to sort of check the assumptions or do that kind of supporting actions when you are running the models. So they don't have so many editing possibilities for publication purposes or so on. But there are few things you can still edit for these as well, and you should consult SAS help to learn more if you have needs for that. Here is a long list of procedures that do support using ODS graphics. Quite many under SAS Stat, few under Base, and also some under some other SaaS products, such as SAS ETS, that's econometric tools, and QC is quality control tools, and so on. Yeah, here is first example, and that's quite basic example that we also get to know more in this course. In the next section, we will get to know the use of SAS procfreg, and what you do with procfreg is you can produce frequency tables. So this kind of procfreg with the table country would produce a one-way frequency table for the variable country. That's the basic part of the procfreg. But if we add after the slash, we add plots equals fregplot, fregplot in parentheses, then this code highlighted by the blue color, that would produce us these two images in addition to the actual frequency table that's omitted here. And already we see that even with the very basic form using this, we get quite nice looking graphics as an output, because it's already by default the ODS graphics is designed so that it gives you good quality graphics. Then another example, if you are fitting a more complicated model, in this case the example model is linear mixed model using SAS proc mixed. There you might also have some possibilities to produce some supporting graphs using the ODS graphics technique. And in this proc mixed, one keyword you can use is residual. If you put it as one of the options in the model statement, like we have done here, you get this kind of residual plots. So we do get QQ or this one QQ plot histogram, and also the one with the predicted values versus residual. So you have three different image types to examine, both the assumption of normality as well as the assumption of equal variances. Yeah, but those were a few examples of using ODS graphics to produce those side result supporting graphs. Of course, almost every procedure, like we saw, they have some options to use those, and you should look into SAS help for each procedure, because there you can find the keywords for each procedure that do support the different types of graphs available in those procedures. So look into those. But next we jump into the standalone graphics procedures. First we talk about the SGPLOT procedure. I already mentioned briefly that you can produce different types of graphs using the SGPLOT. There's sort of categories here divided into categories. There's first of all scatter plots or line plots. We can do different kind of distribution plots. Here is a histogram and a box plot. Then we could produce graphs that are specifically useful for examining categorical data, different kinds of bar charts, for example. And then there's different kinds of statistical graphs like we have here. Here, well, this is basically a scatter plot, but we have also fitted a regression line with some prediction limits and confidence limits there as well. And then there's another one is some kind of a smoothed curve that we have created here. So all these and some more even are available in the SGPLOT. And the way you create these different types of graphs in the SGPLOT procedure, you use different statements for each graph type. So first one is scatter, that can be used to produce the scatter plots, or reg statement can be used also to produce scatter plots, but there you can get a regression line or a curve in addition to the plot. Series statement can be used to produce line plots. Histogram for histograms, H-box or V-box for box plots, either horizontal or vertical. And then H-bar or V-bar, H-bar parm, V-bar parm for different types of bar charts. And there's all kinds of additional options. One common one is this group that you put in the, for example, in the scatter statement, you might put slash and group to define a grouping variable. And usually it means that the different groups are presented with different colors or symbols in the graph you create. Then there's axis options, x-axis and y-axis, where you can define different details in the axes and scales and their options. Also, you can write multiple plotting statements in the same procedure, and that results that the multiple separate plots are drawn on top of each other in the same image, as long as the axes are compatible to be in the same image. So you could, for example, have a bar chart on the background and then some line on top of it, for example. Then to examples, first one is this line plot. So in the SGPLOT procedure, we start with the proc SGPLOT. Then we define the data set we are using. Here we are assuming that we have a library reference called Orion, and then under that Orion we would find a SAS dataset called budget. Then in the series statement, we are already, when we are using a series statement, we are saying that we want to have a line plot. So basically a scatter plot with the points connected to each other using a line. And we need to define x-axis variable, which is month, y-axis variable, which is this YR 2003, meaning it's the revenues for each month in 2003. And then after the slash, we can add some additional options. Here we define the data label, which makes it so that we get the values of the y-axis on next to each point here. And then for the y-axis, we are also defining a label. Revenue is the text we want to have at the y-axis. For the x-axis, this month comes out automatically based on the variable name. But yeah, this is the end result we get with this code. More examples in the next video clip. Thanks.